G'day everybody, and welcome to episode 1 of Off the Land. I'm Rob. You may know me from my YouTube channel Farming and Outdoors. I run a cattle property in New South Wales, and I've been putting off starting an actual podcast for probably 2 years. Frankly, because I wasn't sure anybody wanted to hear a farmer ramble on for half an hour. But it turns out the government just kept doing things that were so spectacularly stupid that I've run out of excuses. So here we are. Off the Land is just a no fluff podcast about rural life in Australia. Yeah, we hunt, we fish, we do farming, and we make fun of politicians because they're making it way harder than it needs to be. I don't plan on doing like weekly episodes. I'll be doing episodes whenever something happens which is worth talking about. And unfortunately, that seems to be pretty often. All right, let's get into episode 1. Thanks for joining me. If you like it, please share it around to everybody, tell everybody, and maybe if you're listening to this on the podcast, check me out on YouTube. And if you're on YouTube, check me out on the podcast. Thanks. Today we've got 4 segments to get through, so let's get into it. Segment 1 is pretty topical. It's coming up on Easter, and the fish prices have doubled at the Sydney fish markets. You've probably seen the headlines. I'm not sure all of the news have been getting behind it yet. Sky's been going on about it for the last, 24 hours or so. The others haven't caught on yet, but I'm sure they will. They'll make their debuts before Easter hits. Straight up, diesel is crushing the commercial fishers. It's the worst possible time for them because this is their biggest fortnight of the year. Everyone's buying fish at the fish market for Good Friday. And diesel has gone up 75% in the last month. So obviously, this is the first big impact from these fuel prices because fishers need diesel to go and catch the fish. Look, I don't really hold any personal ill against anybody, especially in Canberra. Well, not especially in Canberra, but I don't hold any ill will to people. I don't even hold actual ill will to the PM, but I just wish he'd get his act together. The point is not hatred of somebody. The point is just plain old maths. Somebody has to pay the diesel bill. Right now, it's the bloke, or the Sheila, on the boat who's copping it. And they're passing that straight on to the family who's buying their prawns or their flathead for Good Friday. It's just simple economics. That's just how it works. I've seen plenty of comments on other channels and socials, and even on my channels, that a lot of you are calling out a lack of real support for the industry, and the frustration is real. You're not wrong to feel this way. I feel this way because I can see what it's doing to my farming business. And the cost of fuel in a cattle farm is not as big as the cost of fuel on, say, a diesel prawn boat, or as it is on a wheat farm. But it's hurting me, so I can imagine how much it's hurting them. Because these people, the fishers, they're the guys that actually put Australian seafood on your table for Good Friday. Yeah, you can get it from China or whatever, but really, do you want to get Vietnamese flathead? So when their margins get squeezed, they have to put their price up. But the Vietnamese and the Chinese fish that's already in the supermarkets, that was all caught before this. So that doesn't have the squeeze just yet. So this Good Friday is going to be the worst one for them. So here's a practical question. What does it actually cost to get fish from the water to your plate? Fuel is only one part of it, but it's a big one. And when prices have basically doubled, and in some spots the supply is actually squeezed, and there's no real relief coming, so what could actually help here? I mean, maybe proper fuel rebates for commercial operators. I mean, there's like 40 odd cents just in fuel rebates sitting there. They could take that off for a couple of months to keep Australians going. I don't know, what else? What other targeted relief that doesn't just disappear into bureaucracy? What do you think they can really do? Drop your thoughts and I'll read them. Comments like you would do there often shape what I will talk about next time. So think about it and tell me what you really think. Anyway, on to the next subject. ABARE has said Australian farms have broken a new record, $100 billion worth of output. So why are farmers still broke? On the bright side, or so they'd have you believe, the government is out there boasting that Australian agriculture is on track to smash $100 billion this financial year. The National Farmers Federation has a target to make that number in 2030. So 4 years early. That's amazing, right? And ABARE says it's going to be around $101 billion farm gate value. That is fantastic. Meanwhile, input costs are still through the roof for a lot of us. Commodity prices are softening. Fuel has gone up. Fertiliser, a lot of it's stuck on the wrong side of that strait that we keep hearing about. And the same mob in Canberra who's quietly pushing plans to take huge slabs of productive farmland and make it into a carbon sink. 18 million hectares in some talk for growing trees to make carbon sinks. 18 million hectares of production land just gone. But they'll happily take credit for a $100 billion headline, but then turn around and remove up to 40% of the very land that made it possible. It's like congratulating the team for scoring a goal while you're selling the footy field. It just makes no sense. We've seen debates in Parliament House and the numbers look good on paper until you factor in what's coming next for land use. I'm going to leave this here for now. But again, if you have any thoughts about carbon pricing and all of that sort of stuff, and us farmers locking up 40% of our farms to go into these carbon sinks, you tell us down below whether you think it's a good idea or a bad idea to sort of lock up millions upon millions upon millions of acres of land just to do whatever they're planning on doing. And on the flip side of that, the whole world of the Environment Department and stuff like that is seeing a surge in illegal land clearing. Property Rights Australia has been warning about a big surge in complaints over so-called illegal tree clearing. The feds overhauled their environmental laws recently. Well, they've been doing so relentlessly since at least probably 1985, but basically duplicating what the states are already doing. And now an under-resourced state department is getting swamped, and it's doubling the amount of red tape that farmers have to go through, because we not only have to talk to the state farmers about chopping down a tree, we now have to talk to the feds guys as well. So the practical reality of all of this is you can't chop down a single tree on your farm without it turning into a committee meeting and endless amounts of paperwork and visits that you have to pay for these guys to come and have a look at this particular tree. And then you have to explain what the environmental benefit it is to remove the tree. But on the flip side, the government can plant the equivalent of 3 Tasmanias worth of trees on farmland under all their carbon schemes, and that's somehow fine. It's just putting massive pressure on rural landowners who are just trying to manage their own blocks responsibly. Is it not our trees? Can I not keep my land clear for farming? But the complaints are flooding into the EPA and those sort of places, and it all adds to the sense that the rules aren't applied very evenly. I mean, who's writing these rules? It certainly doesn't seem like anyone who's involved in food production. It seems more like inner city types who only see dead and dying trees outside their Redfern terrace house. Doesn't seem like the right people to me. So again, got any ideas about any of this, put it down in the comments and we'll talk about it later. Or I might even make a full-on video, as I said. All right, finally, and we're not real far into this, so it's not going to be a massive long podcast. There's finally some good news. Gen Z is eyeing off moving to the regions. How about that? Regional Australia Institute have put out a survey saying that Gen Z is now the cohort most likely to consider moving out of metro areas. Nearly 1 in 2 city-dwelling Zoomers are thinking about it, driven by the housing crisis, lifestyle issues, and the search for something different than the traditional rat race. I think I'm playing it straight here. It's encouraging to see people moving out to the region, and I'm all for it. More the merrier. Come out here. We need you all out here. But even though more hands brings on fresh energy and that sort of thing, there's a few home truths that they better think about before they get here. I'm sure they'll love it, but I can't wait to explain to a 24-year-old why you can't just get Uber Eats delivered to your house when you live 25 k's from town. Or why, there's no service at the stockyards at 6 a.m. in the morning, so you can't get your YouTube fix. And why, when you're actually at home, why the internet actually drops out when it rains. I'm sure some of these problems are happening in the city, but it seems to be us guys in the country that are copying all of that anyway. But the quiet life here in the bush still involves getting up at 5 a.m. and going out and fixing a fence or digging a hole so you can be done by 2, or have a break from 2 to 4 in the worst part of the day. But welcome to the club, I suppose. We'll see how it goes. I hope they find the same happiness that we found when we moved to the bush. Because I did it when I was the same age. I was sort of mid-20s or early 20s when I first moved to the country, and I've never looked back. So come on, come and join us. It's hard work, but it's worth it. So anyway, it's time to close. That's episode 1 done. And it wasn't that hard, I hope. I hope you made it to the end. So we've covered fish prices getting hammered by diesel, $100 billion farm headline, but a land grab hiding behind it, tree clearing complaint surgings, and a bit of hope that Gen Z are looking to move out to the regions to give us all a hand. What I want to know from you lot is this. On the big issues like climate farming, land use credits, all of these endless layers of green, red and black tape, what is actually out there that works, and what needs to get binned or fixed like yesterday? Tell me what you think, and tell me how you think we should fix it before we get any worse. So drop your comments here if you're on YouTube. Maybe go to my YouTube channel if you're not, if you're just listening to this, and write me some comments later. My email address is down in the description here somewhere, so you can even drop me an email and I'll get back to you if I can. If you're a country person like me, maybe tell me some experiences you've had on your property and what politics are hurting you, or on the flip side, what politics are actually helping you. It's not all doom and gloom. I try to be a happy person if I can. So let's find some happy stories. Or just tell me how your week went, how it goes on your patch. What did you get up to? And tell me what the city people need to know about what happens in your life in the bush. Because the more you engage, the faster this community builds and the better this show's going to get. So share episode 1 with a mate, someone maybe in the bush, and someone maybe in the city who needs a bit of a reality check. And then if something big happens that's worth talking about, I'll be back soon. Otherwise, look after yourself out there, be safe out there. I'm Rob, this has been Off the Land, and if you're listening to this and not watching it, don't forget to go check out my YouTube channel, Farming and Outdoors. Thanks for watching, thanks for listening, catch you next time.